Hey, Ray Cadell. Hey, James Watson. Hey, Jay Wyatt. Hey, Grace. Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. If you only knew what went into putting this program on, and I think Clay Eure just got a taste of it, baby. Clay Eure, our guest of Eure Consulting. She's a behavioral analyst, and I'm going to put in perspective what exactly is a behavioral analyst, and we're going to talk about her Eure Consulting business, her family's business that is making a very positive impact across a lot of businesses here in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. A lot I want to cover. We're going to talk entrepreneurship. We'll talk current events with Clay Eure. If you have questions, comments, concerns, if you would like to add to the stream, I would really encourage you to like it and to share it. That would mean the world to all of us. It keeps the spotlight on Clay and, of course, of the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. Hop on either if you're watching it on CVille Food or I Love CVille or Scoutology CVille or Clay's page or my page. You can post a question in the chat box, and I will see the questions from all 7 channels and pass those questions on to Clay. Questions already coming in for Clay Eure. I like it. Let's thank some of the sponsors. Let's pay some of the bills. First, Greenberry's Coffee. For roughly 28 years, a husband and wife took a beat-up Honda Civic, and they decided to allocate a tremendous amount of sweat equity, a vision, a dream, and they created Greenberry's Coffee Company. That was almost 28 years ago. Today, it's a global business with more than 30 locations: Qatar, Japan, Saudi Arabia, soon to open in Portland, Washington, D.C., started here in Charlottesville with Sean and Roxanne Simmons. Also give some big-time props to Dr. Scott Wagner, Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. He and I have been working alongside each other, us as his advertising agency of record, for almost 5 years. We've seen him go from the Seminole Square Shopping Center with one doctor and a couple of people at the front of the house next to the Indian restaurant, I think it's Maharaja in Seminole Square, to now purchasing the Quinn Farmer Auction House and having 5 doctors and an army of people under his watch. Scott Wagner making big-time things happen. Jerry Miller and the I Love CVille Show, Harris Tolber, Judah Wickhauer, and Lauren Linsky make this program possible. We will encourage you to like and share the stream, ask us a question, and we can pass it to Clay. And Harris, I think on that note, let's welcome our esteemed guest to the program. Clay, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. I think the Eure surname speaks volumes in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. You certainly have a surname and a last name and a family reputation of impeccable pedigree and entrepreneurship with was it the Charlottesville Radio Group moniker? Is that what it was?
It was Eure Communications.
Eure Communications.
Sold and then became Charlottesville Radio Group.
Okay,
yeah.
so a lot of the stations, ladies and gentlemen, we listen to on a regular basis, at one time tied to her family. They also now have a consulting company called Eure Consulting, where they're helping optimize and improve business models for entrepreneurs and C-suite executives, I think, anywhere and everywhere. First, let me give you the show, and we start with the same question. Who is Clay Eure? What does she like? What are her passions, her interests? What does she do professionally and personally?
Well, I have a lot of different sides to me.
Okay.
I would say first and foremost, I am a Charlottesvillian born and bred. I was born at the old Martha Jefferson, which is now apartment buildings and CFA Institute. So I was looking for an apartment at one point, and I thought, I could live at the place where I was born. Be a little bit weird. But I grew up here, went to public schools, go Black Knights.
Charlottesville High School.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Went away for college to Vanderbilt University.
Okay.
So go Doors as well. Came back to town, started working for my dad 2 days after I graduated from college, and have been, enjoying the adult side of Charlottesville as well.
That's awesome. So a true townie.
Yeah,
comes back to Charlottesville after 4 majestic years at Vanderbilt, and clearly you have Charlottesville in your blood. You love this town inside and out. What do you like about CVille?
I love that it's still a small town, but it has tons to do. So lots of great restaurants. Just enjoyed a couple of them on Restaurant Week. Actually drove all the way up to Bavarian Chef, which was amazing.
Okay. 29 North for Clay Eure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of fun bars to meet your friends at, great breweries and wineries around. Growing up, it never really felt like there was much to do as a teenager.
Right.
But as an adult, there's a whole other side of Charlottesville that opens up.
You seem to have Brian Weimer, the Wizard of Ix, walking by the studio now. You seem to have food and the taste of good eats also as one of your passions. You and I have sat across from each other at the Dual Chef Showdown. We've had multiple conversations about restaurants in town. Why don't we start with some of the easy ones? Great. What are the restaurants you like, Clay, and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There's so many.
There are a lot.
I definitely have to say I go to Brazos probably the most often because it's right next to my gym. So I'll finish a workout and go grab some tacos and take them home with me for dinner. I love going to C&O, their downstairs bar. That area is just so kind of warm.
Intimate?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Love going to the new Maru.
Okay.
Went there for a friend's birthday. Great food.
I haven't been there. That's the old miso suite?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard, and this is a little entrepreneurial gossip and tidbit. In fact, it's fact, so it's not gossip. The chef and owner of Maru was previously one of the partners at Doma on West Main.
Oh, really?
And a little friction between the two partners. One partner skedaddles and goes and opens Maru on the mall, with Doma still existing in kind of that West Main Midtown quarter.
Yeah.
The restaurants, how old are you, like 20?
27.
27. So 27 years you've seen Charlottesville. Put in perspective of how you've seen restaurants change in our community.
Well, I think there was really an explosion. I know growing up, the downtown mall was not the crown jewel, we'll say, that it is today. I wasn't ever really allowed to come down here by myself growing up. Yeah.
Why? Because it was sketch?
Yeah, a little sketchy. Now the Paramount Theater helped bringing things back. All the restaurants moving back in. Eventually having a nice hotel there will help as well. But, just definitely seeing an explosion. You can't really go wrong with any of the restaurants on the downtown mall these days.
Good answer. So you talk about the Paramount. Your mom, executive director?
Correct.
Executive director at the Paramount. She, and of course you're going to give props to your mom. It's Ma Dukes here, okay? But I got to give some props to her. She's really helped take that brand to another level. And the Paramount is undoubtedly a team effort. A lot of volunteers part of that. But your mom's the executive director. She's the head honcho. And I think the Paramount, now especially with the loss of the Ice Park to Joffrey Woodruff's new tech portfolio or tech epicenter, the Paramount in a lot of ways, along with the Charlottesville Pavilion, Clay, the two flagships for people downtown, I'm sure she doesn't take that responsibility lightly. Maybe put in perspective what she's done with the Paramount brand.
So she took over about 6 or maybe almost 7 years ago, and the first year she was there, she got him back into the black.
Nice.
She very much, it is a nonprofit theater.
I didn't know that.
For those that don't know. It is a nonprofit theater. It was saved from demolition by a group of community members who raised the money to buy it and turn it into a nonprofit to be the community's theater. And she helped really diversify the acts that they're bringing educational shows for students to come to, bringing live events for free to the community, really trying to open the doors to Charlottesville because it is Charlottesville's theater. And all of that is made possible by, like you said, volunteers, donations, board members, really helping to get as many new people through the door as possible.
Good answer. Ray Cadell, thank you for watching. Lauren, Bob Shada, thank you for watching. Constance Wyatt, thank you for watching. John Gilmore, thank you for watching. If you can like and share the stream, that would mean the world to us. That would be really how you give us some props and some love for doing a daily show that takes a lot of sweat equity and a lot of human capital. Ross Schiller, thank you for getting involved. Daniel Baptist, Charlene Munford, and Clay's page is blowing up right now. This girl's got some people that like her. I remember, so I went to UVA, and I remember in 2000, and I'm going to do a little, I'm going to get myself, I don't think this is, I'm going to get in trouble for this. You know what, who cares if I do. In 2000, me and my buddies were in Dabney Hall at UVA. This is old dorms. And we're like any 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, we're looking for trouble. And we decide to have the brilliant idea of making some fake IDs.
Oh.
And we're making fake New Jersey IDs because at that time, New Jersey did not have a hologram. And it was very easy to fake. And where I'm going with this, after making our fake IDs that were New Jersey, we headed downtown. because we easily could get into Coupe de Villes at the time with the napkin. Their at the time in 2000, their way of letting people in was like, okay, are you 21? Okay, come inside. We could easily go to any of the bars around downtown, but what we could not do, any of the bars around the corner, but what we could not do was go to the bars downtown. So we're like, all right, let's make some fake IDs and let's go downtown. We wanted to see Agents of Good Roots at Miller's.
Okay.
And this is 2000. We go down there, and I'm wearing pretty much what I'm wearing now. It shows how much I've matured and evolved as a human. A button-down shirt. I think I was wearing khaki shorts instead of pants, and of course, rainbow sandals. Right. My buddies were wearing much of the same. I'm sure you saw that attire at Vanderbilt.
Oh, yes, definitely.
We walk into Miller's, and Clay, it was like we had the plague, or like the bubonic plague, or like leprosy.
Yeah.
Like, everybody that at Miller's was like, UVA students, what the hell are you doing in our bar? This is a townie bar.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. And I screamed like a schoolgirl and ran away like a rat who saw a mousetrap, okay? So what I'm putting as perspective is I remember circa 2000 where like downtown not only was a little sketch, but not welcoming to UVA students. Clay, it's changed so much. What have you seen change downtown perhaps?
I definitely think the variety of options. We are short a nice dance place right now with the closure of
Mono Loco
and S Cafe before it. That's the one thing I think we're lacking on the downtown mall. But other than that, we've got the fancy cocktails at Alley Light. Just get a good beer at Miller's with their huge beer selection. Or Draft Tap House has been a really fun one for my friends of late. So I really think we have kind of all spectrum of if you want to go out, there's an option for you on the downtown mall.
So you're saying Clay Eure likes to get down, and when she has a couple, she wants to dance a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
I do. I love to dance. Even if I haven't had a couple, I'd love to dance in general.
And you know what? My wife has said that so many times. There's not really like a go-to spot. Now, from time to time, like the Southern or the Jefferson will have like the leg warmers, or like the DJ from Mono Loco that was there all the time, who I'm drawing a blank on Friday and Saturday, may show up from time to time at Rapture. But really no downtown spot to get after it. Another thing is there's not really like an upscale like sports bar downtown. I mean, Citizen kind of fills that void, but I feel like it's more restaurant and burger bar than sports bar.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how about that. You've touched on the Landmark. So you are, okay, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. You are educated. You come from a prominent family. You guys have connections in the area. I'm sure you hear things about some big-time stuff in Charlottesville that a lot of folks don't. Not saying that you have any scoop on the Landmark here, but your thoughts on this skeleton that is hideously hovering over the downtown mall?
I think it's really unfortunate because you see a lot of, in any kind of Charlottesville promo videos, you see the aerial shot of the downtown mall. You've got the beautiful Paramount on one side and then this giant Skeletor on the other. It's really been a blight on our downtown landscape, skyline, and it would be awesome if we could get it moving again. Last I heard, I think the guy was saying he was going to finish his hotel in Charleston.
And he has.
Which, it's been a while now.
Yeah.
So we need to be doing something to get him up here.
John Dewberry, tag John Dewberry, Judah, in the copy. Let's heckle John Dewberry of Dewberry Capital. Bloomberg dubbed him the Emperor of Empty Lots. We have dubbed him on the I Love CVille show the extorting Emperor of Empty Lots, because Johnny Dewberry is pretty much saying, I'm going to leave this hotel as a skeleton unless the city of Charlottesville gives me tax breaks to help incentivize me to finish this project. Basically improving his margin and him helping him do construction easier. It's BS. I hate it. I absolutely hate that practice. Let's talk about the business. Behavioral analysts at Eure Consulting. First, for the layman, what is a behavioral analyst?
Basically, it's a made-up term that we decided sort of describe what I do very well. I work with behavioral assessments. That's kind of where my expertise lies within the company. We use an assessment from TTI Success Insights that measures 4 different sciences. So we talk about DISC, which is behaviors and how you communicate and how you act, and driving forces, which is more what motivates you and what you value in life. We have competencies, which are job-related skills, and acumen, which is more of a kind of in your head, how you make decisions and where you're placing your focus in the world.
So this is very complicated stuff. Okay,
Yes.
you got a guy that is very good on a microphone, that understands branding and advertising, and everything else you just said is a little over my head. You are going into businesses, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are potentially studying the C-suite executives or potentially middle and upper management, their behaviors, their practices, their routines, the protocols they follow, how they go about their day. And then you're assessing this because you're a very smart person who's well educated and has experience. And you're then coming back with a plan for them to perhaps improve their performance and or their interaction with their staff.
Yeah, so what we try to teach is what we call no surprise leadership.
Okay.
And that is twofold. It's on the people side. No surprises, meaning you understand your employees well, they understand what's expected of them very well, and you have regular check-ins to let them know how they're doing and how to help them improve and coach them. And then on the other side, it's the organizational no surprises of knowing exactly where you stand, what challenges you're currently facing, and how you're going to tackle those, and also getting a glimpse into the future 6, 12 months down the road, what bumps am I going to hit, and being prepared for those as well.
Nice, nice. You're getting props on that answer. Michael Allenby, thank you for joining us on the show. Charlene Munford, I've given you props, but I'm read your name again, so I'm going to give you some props some more. Tyler Berry, Christopher Eagle, Real Estate 3. Greg Dione, I'm sorry if I'm messing your last name up, Greg. He's the executive chef at Public Fish and Oyster. Bob Shada, thank you for sharing the feed. April Ward, thank you for sharing the feed. If you guys would be so kind to like and share the stream, that would mean the world to us. Rick Henderson, thank you for joining us. Daniel Kaufman, the owner of Public, thank you for joining us. Grace Mahaji, thank you for joining us. I'm sure I got your last name right, Grace. Jeremy Stanwyck, Jonathan Galasso, Dan Bards, Meg Taylor, John Gilmore, Chris Turner. The list goes on. How about this? Was there a struggle for you at all going from Vanderbilt back to Charlottesville? Were you like, do I want to go back home, or do I want to go out on my own? Walk me through that thinking when you graduated from Vanderbilt, one of the top universities out there, and chose to come back to the land of CVille.
So I am a big fan of the known, and Charlottesville was known to me at the time, and I was offered a job working for my dad, also a known entity.
Okay.
I was originally planning to go and get my PhD in anthropology and become a forensic anthropologist.
Cool.
But senior year started looking into grad programs and realizing how much one more school and one more money that was going to cost me.
Right.
And decided that wasn't really my route. So looked around a couple other jobs, but my dad said, hey, I've grown the business big enough where I need some help. Do you want to come in and work with me? And I said, that sounds great.
Super cool. Eure Consulting, your surname business, your father's business. How about the pressure you felt going into a company that he started and founded that also bared your last name? Was there some pressure you were feeling? And if so, if you could put it in perspective?
There's definitely a little, I would say there's more pressure working for your dad than there is working for another boss. In general, I wouldn't want to disappoint any boss, but this also happens to be my father, so I don't want to disappoint him either. And so there's a little pressure in that regard. You know, we're only two people, so there's a lot of things I have to do that aren't necessarily in my wheelhouse, and trying to grow and stretch into those areas has been, especially over the last 6 months to a year, that's been really my main challenge of late.
That intrigues me because I see a very confident, composed, well-spoken. I feel like from what I've gathered from you, you can handle pretty much anything. I get the fearlessness vibe. And Malcolm Dyson says, you're dropping knowledge. Get it, Clay. Love what you're doing right now. Malcolm Dyson, thanks for giving
Malcolm.
it. Yeah, you know Malcolm.
I do, yeah. So I also work part-time at the Paramount Theater, and he's my boss there.
Malcolm Dyson, giving her some props. Sarah Hill Buczynski, I see you. Tobin Tapscott, I see you. What were the things that you said pushed you outside of your comfort zone? I've got to think your comfort zone is pretty robust.
So what's been pushing and still is pushing me is the sales side, the prospecting side of the business. Super comfortable talking to people and telling them about what we do, but the difference is asking them for that business. You know, going for that
Asking
close.
for money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part that's new to me. Again, don't mind talking to people. Just have to figure out how to translate that into a business relationship. So.
And you know what? I struggle with that. I launched my business in May of 2008. I had the misconception, I think like a lot of entrepreneurs, that I could just launch a business and put up a website and put up a Facebook page and the business was going to be coming in. The reality is, for 6 months after launching my business and essentially tapping $32,000, which was my life savings at the time that I put into the business, pretty much had tapped that out. I've said many times on the program, in the first 6 months of launching the business, I was stealing food from Pana Garden Buffet by Lambeth Commons on Emmett Street, going in with Ziploc bags and taking food into Ziploc bags when they were not looking. And that was my food for 3 days. Not only my food, but Lucy, my dog, who I just put down, her food as well for 3 days, just because I didn't have any money. And then 6 months in, I had the sense of desperation. I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to working for somebody else, and I've already put all this money into it, so I better make some shit happen. And you know, then I had to start like knocking on doors and saying, look, I could put this plan in place at this cost, and if you give me this money, these are the goods that you will get and the deliverables that you will get. That's my value proposition that I'm offering, is what I'm basically saying.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you're going to go to that point.
So, like I said, I don't mind talking to people, and I truly believe that our business can provide value to any and every business in the Charlottesville and surrounding areas. What we do really helps owners and founders of companies figure out how to manage their people. That's the hardest side of any business, and people who start their own companies didn't go to school for that. Maybe you have an MBA, but it still doesn't necessarily teach you how to deal with people and the many different aspects of people, as I'm sure you've seen over the years, and working with others know that people can be weird sometimes, and how do you deal with those situations?
People can be weird sometimes, and that's why I like my dogs. Not saying I don't like people, but I might like dogs slightly more. You're consulting the birth story from start to finish. If you could, and we'll turn this into a sizzle reel, Harris, put in perspective the birth, the infancy, the evolution of Eure Consulting, the business and the brand.
All right, so Eure Consulting started back in 2009 when my dad, Brad Eure, was bored of retirement. He had grown up in the radio business with his dad starting stations in Yorktown and Petersburg. He took over managing the stations here in Charlottesville in '88, I think, and they sold them in, I want to say, 2004, 2005. So he retired and hated not having a challenge. So he was called him my Dommy, a daddy and a mommy, a stay-at-home dad. Making lunches for us didn't really fulfill him for some reason. I don't understand why. But so he started the consulting company to help people learn how to manage others better and quicker, because he had learned how to manage from his father and wanted to help others learn slightly faster than he had to learn, just kind of gleaning things off of his dad about what to do and what not to do. So we've put together a curriculum over the years that's helping really the founders and CEOs of companies, as well as that next level of management, learn how to handle their people, how to deal with business challenges, and how to keep the company growing effectively. Nice
answer. Sizzle Reel, baby. Harris Tolber, thank you very much. Got a question from the stream. A few questions coming in. In fact, Bob Shada, he says, you're consulting a great service. Great service to identify if you are in the right role. I personally have used your consulting in a previous business to hire new employees. So Bob Shada giving you some props there. How about the services offered with your consulting?
Yeah, so we have kind of two main sides of the business. We have what we call stages of growth, which is where we can help you understand where your company is right now in terms of where you're going, what basically dependent upon the number of employees that you have. And so based on that information, we can tell you what your current challenges are, what your employees are feeling, whether you're meaning them to feel that or not, and help you put a plan in place to get those things solved. And then we have the assessment side of the business, which we use on that side as well, but it's kind of a standalone product as well, which is understanding who you are, self-awareness is the name of the game in leadership these days, understanding your employees and understanding the roles that you have and helping to match employees to those roles so they can be well suited to them and play to their natural strengths.
I like that. So there's some similarities, guys, with what we do. So what I Love CVille is the brand with my business that interfaces with the marketplace. But for a lot of folks that don't know what I Love CVille is, the parent company or one of the divisions that really make up I Love CVille is an advertising agency. We provide client services, and she provides client services. And I will say this, and I will throw it to you, client services is a brutal ball game. It's a brutal ball game. I love it. It's invigorating. I love providing value and being a sounding board and essentially being the confessional for entrepreneurs and C-suite executives and business owners. But it's tough because like every single day you are not at the mercy, but like checking the inbox, checking the phone, checking the text messages about what one of your clients may need. Talk to me a little bit about the client services piece, because we know some clients are demanding, and this is certainly a challenging category to be in.
Yeah, definitely. Luckily, most of our clients are amazing, first of all, and stick pretty regularly to the 9 to 5 schedule. So we don't get
you are so lucky.
Too many emergency calls on the weekends or anything like that. But you're right. It's being a sounding board for people is a lot of what we do, helping coach them through issues and help them learn how to coach their employees through these problems. We have been lucky that most of our clients have not been as demanding. The problem we run into a lot is that we're ready to help someone change and grow, and they're not quite ready. They think they're ready, and they're not quite there yet.
Okay.
So that's our biggest.
So how do you handle that? I mean, do you have to put in like the persuasion powers there, or do you say like, look, this is where you are, this is where you want to be, and this is how you're going to get there, and it's certainly not by doing the same thing over and over again, because that's the definition of whatever the saying is, insanity.
Yeah.
If you're doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result each time. So how do you do that? How do you take them to the next level?
So for us, we call it, well, we don't call it, it's a term that's out there, radical candor. It's
Okay.
a book by Kim Scott. But it's just being honest and caring with someone, but also challenging them directly. And so you're exactly right, saying, this is where you are, this is where you want to get. You're not going to be able to do that unless you make some changes. And so just being honest and straightforward about that.
What's your favorite aspects? I mean, do you like being around the energy that comes with like walking into a business? Because this is one of my favorite things that I love, guys. I love, and I do this probably, I'd say 4 to 5 times a day. I love sitting across the desk from folks like Clay, whether on air or off air, and just like taking 45 minutes and like learning the nuances, the dynamics, the ins and outs of what they do, from like a 9 to 5, an 8 to 6, if you're like me, like a 7 to 7. And it's just, it invigorates me. I feel like, Clay, honestly, I feel like every single like quarter that goes by, or let's take it more macro, like every single year that goes by, I feel like I just took a different level of like an MBA course or MBA curriculum, because I'm learning from these businesses and they are teaching me stuff, and it's the kind of stuff that like no one is going to find in a freaking textbook or in the lecture at like Ken Elzinga's spot at UVA or whatever it may be, whoever the professor it may be. This is the kind of stuff that's like the real deal, like hard stuff that like fires we have to put out constantly. Talk to me about like your perspective of like being around this, what you take from it, the feelings it makes you feel, all the above.
Yeah, I love that aspect of it. That's definitely my favorite part, is getting to talk to people about what it is that they do and helping them figure out how to solve those challenges that they're facing every day. That's one of the reasons I like what we do so much, is because there is that one-on-one conversation that happens on a regular basis, not only with new clients, but with your existing clients, of checking in with them, seeing how things are going. Okay, we talked about this last month. Where are you on it? And then also, because we work with many companies across all industries, I get to learn, like you said, getting an MBA on the job, of learning a little bit about all these different industries and understanding how they work. And to me, that's really exciting. Dave
Warwick, thank you for watching. He's the brewmaster at 3 Notch Brewing Company. I believe also one of your comrades from the Cystic Fibrosis Brewers Ball?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
Put in perspective the Brewers Ball. So the Brewers Ball is big time, guys. And I don't want to speak for you, a board member?
A committee member.
A committee member
yes.
of the Brewers Ball. What's going on there?
So the Brewers Ball is a fundraiser for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation here in Charlottesville. We call it the Charlottesville's Finest campaign as well. So there are this year 14 honorees, Charlottesville's finest young professionals that are doing great work in the community. I was involved last year as an honoree. That's how I came to be involved. And this year they asked me to join the committee, so now helping to plan the Brewers Ball. It's on June 13th this year at the Ix Art Park. We're going to have, I think, 10 or 12 local breweries who are serving up tastings of their beers, as well as 10 to 12 local restaurants who are kind of pairing their bites with that as well. It's a great time. Going to have a band. There's going to be a silent auction, a live auction, which is always fun if you've never been to one. And it's just a great time to help celebrate Charlottesville and what makes it awesome.
Teresa Davis, Front Runner Signs, thank you for joining us. Let's turn the Brewers ball into a sizzle reel. My friend Harris Tolber. Teresa Davis, we appreciate you jumping on the stream, and evidently you've impressed Malcolm so much, he just chose to share the stream. So thank you, Malcolm Dyson, for sharing the stream as well. I want to throw to you. Sarah Guilford, thank you so much for getting involved in the program and sharing and liking and following the page. And Judah, you need to send that artwork to Valpak, sir. Not reprimanding you at all. Let me throw this to you. As far as the entrepreneurial spirit, your dad has started 2 businesses?
Yeah.
2 businesses. Your mom is the executive director of the Paramount. They cannot retire because they like staying busy and staying active in the community and being around entrepreneurs and business owners and doing good things for Charlottesville. I love that. When does the entrepreneurial bug bite you, and when does Clay Eure go out on her own with potentially her own business, or is the game plan potentially the succession plan of Eure Consulting?
Definitely. The game plan right now is the succession plan.
Okay.
I mean, it already has my name on it, so it's an easy transition. But yeah, I already feel like I am in my own business. Again, it's just the 2 of us. I get to help make decisions every day, and helping to lead and grow the company that's the entrepreneurial bug for me.
I like it. James Watson, now on the stream, giving props to Malcolm Dyson. So Malcolm Dyson, a well-liked guy over at the Paramount. How do you improve the city of Charlottesville? And you said 28 you are?
27.
27. So 27, grew up in Charlottesville. I see you, Michael Buchensky. Thank you for sharing the show, First Heritage Mortgage. 27 years old, grew up in Charlottesville, a proud black knight from Charlottesville High School. What sports did you play?
Field hockey and soccer.
Okay, field hockey and soccer. What would you do to make Charlottesville a better place to live?
So I'm actually involved in a women's organization here in town that is focused on doing exactly that.
Cool.
The Junior League of Charlottesville. I am the current president-elect. Will be taking over as president June 1st, excuse me. Don't want to get there too early.
Nice.
And that is our goal, is to help. We want to empower women in Charlottesville and the surrounding areas, and we do that through mentorship, service, and training. And then we are working to make lasting and improving change. So,
what have we seen the Junior League do, like tangibly? I've heard of the Junior League. I know it's a prestigious organization. I would just like to learn more about like the tangible production that's happened from the organization.
Definitely. So I think our biggest impact comes through our community partnerships. Current community partner is the Boys and Girls Club.
Cool.
And we work with a group of girls there from ages 8 to 12, every Monday night. They're getting mentorship, basically. So a group of Junior League women brings dinner. And they also have a lesson provided, which is, could be etiquette, could be how to write a thank you letter, could be how to talk to your friend about a tough issue, those kind of things, helping the girls not only form bonds with each other, but also have positive role models in the Junior League women that are there with them.
Very cool. Corbett Snow, thank you for watching the program. CEO and owner of Snow's Garden Center. We appreciate you, Corbin Snow. We're looking forward to building your website in the next 30 days, sir. Charlottesville, constantly we hear about the ridiculous cost of living. And I want to put this in perspective as someone who is, building her career, still on the very young side of things, relatively the same age, but you're younger than I am. Cost of living in Charlottesville, perspective from someone who's in the thick right now, which is you.
Yeah, I can speak. My sister's currently looking for an apartment for next year, she's a grad student. So finding an apartment on that budget is pretty much impossible, without roommates especially. And I went through the same thing when I first moved back, is finding an apartment that had what you needed with a good location, and being affordable. It is very hard. And I'm not sure what the answer is to that, but I think if we want to be an inclusive community and to keep growing, we need to address that for sure.
So not in the apartment anymore?
No, I actually bought a house a couple years ago.
So, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of agents watching. Glenn Slauson, CEO of Notice Sports, watching right now. I see you, Glenn Slauson. Thank you for tuning into the program. If you can like and share the stream, Glenn, that would mean a lot to us. the perspective of buying your first home, the trials and tribulations and what you went through, especially in a town like Charlottesville, in a community like Central Virginia, where it ain't easy, guys. There's not that much supply on the market.
Definitely. So I was looking, I specifically was trying to live in Belmont.
Okay.
The houses were going, as soon as they were put on the market, they were already sold. It was very frustrating. I took a few months off. And my realtor, Macon Gunter of Nest Realty.
Macon Gunter, good people. St. Anne's Belfield graduate, University of Virginia graduate, and keeps the stats for the UVA football and basketball games. I believe Macon Gunter's nickname is the Squid. I'm sorry to interrupt you right there. Macon Gunter,
I didn't know that.
He used to work for me
at
the Daily Progress.
Awesome.
He was a part-time staff writer when I was the editor of the high school sports department under Jerry Ratcliffe, and he was a tremendous writer. Someone tag and get Macon Gunter on this stream here. Give Macon Gunter some props and let him know we're talking good things about him.
Yeah,
Go ahead with the process with Macon Gunter.
Well, so he was great about keeping an eye on the market even when I wasn't actively looking, and then a house came up on Rugby Avenue.
Nice.
And when looked at it, put in an offer that same day because I had experience now of things going very quickly. And was able to get it.
So you went to Rugby Avenue. That's not Belmont.
No, it's not.
So were you like, all right, Belmont is
too hot.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. So my first spot, and we talk about this on the show, and you'll get a kick out of this. My first spot outside of UVA, the first one was Oxford Hills off of Preston Avenue, right across from George Washington Park.
Yep.
And then finally me, Tom Daly of Tom Daly Photography, Shannon Maranzano, who is the Director of Operations at Savvy Rest now, and Michael Henniger, who works for one of Core and Capshaw's affiliates. The four of us choose to move to Belmont, and we go to Little Graves, one of the side streets right off Graves behind Spudnuts. And dude, we were so broke, Clay. We could barely afford anything, and our budget was like $1,000. And like we could not afford anything in Belmont. We settled on a 3-bedroom place. There was 4 of us. So Shannon Maranzano had to climb a rope ladder into the attic, and he converted the attic into a bedroom. And he was even able to get girls up the rope ladder to the attic in his converted bedroom up there. But we were able to chop up a 3-bedroom into a 4-bedroom, which saved everybody money, and we were able to stumble to and from the bars, which was our primary motivation of moving to Belmont. Where I'm going with this, even in 2006, Clay, Belmont was like unaffordable. Now it's like almost unattainable unless like you're an empty nester or you just rolled in some bank. Talk to me about that.
Well, I remember one house in particular, I offered above asking price, and I was still outbid by $50,000.
Stop it.
And that person paid in cash.
No, really?
Really.
At that point were you like, all right, I'm taking my money
and
and getting out of the sandbox.
I've got to take a break.
What?
So.
That is so crazy. Was it like just a dope house, or was it like a house that needed some TLC?
It actually was already pretty dope.
Okay.
I think it was only 1 bathroom, and then there was maybe a half bath in the basement. Had kind of a weird basement, but a huge lot in Belmont. And yeah, it was unfortunate. It was
Rugby Ave though now?
Rugby Ave now, yeah.
So talk to me about Rugby Ave. Home, what's the community like? What's the neighborhood like?
The neighborhood is established, I'll say.
Okay. So you're saying there's old folks everywhere. Is that what you're saying? I get to the point.
That was my polite way of saying that, yes.
Okay, keep going.
So I've got a nice corner lot. It is kind of up on a hill though, so no driveway.
Okay.
But I'm out there, well, not right now in the cold weather, but during the summers I'd mow my own grass.
Nice.
Had a nice little wine festival for my birthday in the backyard.
Nice.
Last spring. So.
Cool. So is Clay Eure, does she have a cocktail in hand when she's cutting her own grass? Is that what she's doing? Does she have the riding lawnmower? What is Clay Eure doing?
I do not have a riding lawnmower. I got to push.
Okay, self-propelled?
It does, yeah. Because there are the hills, so you need a little help getting up there, which makes it easier.
I would love to see you cut the grass, Clay Eure. I would love to see you do it. What do you think about the fact that you were able to, I mean, I'm sure one of the things you love is you're able to get everywhere in like 5 minutes.
Yes, definitely.
How about the ubiquitous nature of these scooters everywhere? Have you seen the Bird and the Lime scooters everywhere?
I have. I've even tried them out.
Do you? Okay.
Just in like a parking lot. Over by Guadalajara, actually.
You are one of the few people that we've had on the show that has been on one.
Oh, yeah.
Do you embrace Lime and Bird coming to Charlottesville? Do you see him as being a nuisance? I mean, the con side of it is sometimes they're disarray and thrown everywhere, and sometimes they can clutter the sidewalk or the bike lanes. The positive from what I see is like less cars on the road means less traffic, which means people in cars potentially could get to places sooner, and the scooter offers an affordable level of convenience that you may not be able to find through taxis or Uber. What is your take on Lyman Bird invading Charlottesville, Virginia? So
my point of view is that they're not necessarily going to be used all that much for regular commuting.
Okay.
I see them as an alternative to Uber or Lyft late night.
Okay, so you're saying booze cruises.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's my main issue with them as well, is that if you've got a bunch of intoxicated people on scooters, they're going to cause issues for themselves, for the cars that are on the road. And so I would like to see some kind of regulations around them for people's safety.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I have yet to try them. I need to try one. I've seen them everywhere. They're constantly zipping in front of our storefront. Our storefront gets 10,000 cars go by today, and I'm seeing, not obviously 10,000 scooters, but probably like 15, 20 scooters a day going by here. I like it because the city of Charlottesville itself is so like bike friendly. This is just like another opportunity to hype on a scooter in a bike lane. And if we can get to and from UVA, West Main, and downtown and Belmont, where I predominantly see them going, I think that's going to improve the quality of life for everybody, especially when the West Main streetscape, that construction project starts over by the Lewis and Clark statue. I think that's going to end up being a cluster. How about this from someone who grew up in the area and then someone who moved back to the area, someone who loves Charlottesville? UVA, the corner, West Main, and downtown are three pretty much like dining, entertainment districts. I think Stonefield is in Albemarle County, so that's not in the city of Charlottesville. Barracks Road, I don't think is a dining or entertainment district. Where do you see yourself the most and why of those three that I mentioned?
Definitely downtown the most. Like I mentioned earlier, the most options in one location. So, if one bar, you're not feeling one bar, you move to the next. And as well as on Fridays, love Fridays after 5. So spend a lot of time down here during the summer. Have been branching out to West Main a little bit more.
Me too.
Love going to Lost Saint. I'm a big cocktail fan. I have a cocktail club that I started at my house, and we just try different cocktails and try to expand our cocktail palette.
You're making cocktails. What cocktails do you make, Clay?
So we originally started with a book called The Cocktail Club.
Okay.
Really simple concept. You have
is that kind of like Cocktail for Dummies?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I picked it up at Caspari a while ago. I'm not sure if they still carry it. But it was every month featured a different base liquor, and you would make 4 or 5 different ones for everyone to try a taste of. And then we've actually moved on to Micah Lamont's book, the head bartender at Alley Light.
Yeah, that guy's a rock star.
His book is amazing. It's got great history of cocktails and kind of the basics of what makes a cocktail and how to go from there. So I've been making a lot of his recipes lately.
What is your favorite cocktail in Charlottesville? Who is making it? Where can you get it? Is it Alley Light? Is it Lost Saint? Those are the 2 craft cocktail spots, aren't they?
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
I will go off the craft cocktail and say I really love Whiskey Jar's Whiskey Sour.
Interesting. Wilson Ritchie's tuning in now as we speak. Talk to me about that. He's going to love hearing that.
So I actually don't normally like whiskey, bourbon, scotch, any of those dark liquors, which is unfortunate. I think it's really cool when women do. But the Whiskey Sour from Whiskey Jar is one of the ones that I really enjoy.
Why do you say it's unfortunate because you like it when women do? Is because it's like a strong,
cool.
empowering, like,
definitely.
It's like, all right, I'm drinking what one of the guys are drinking. Is that what you're kind of saying?
I think it's just really cool and yeah, like you said, strong. Well, I don't know.
How about
I don't drink anything straight though, so.
What do you got? You got a little on the rocks?
Oh no, always in a cocktail form. I can't handle straight liquor.
Okay. I was gonna pour you.
I have a little baby palate
after the show. First thing she said when she came over the show, she saw our decanter and our rocks glasses, and she's like, "You drinking on the job here?" I'm like, "Sometimes." How about the beer piece? What do you like? You are getting to know brewers, and I know through your time with the Brewers Ball, you've gotten to know and opened some doors for yourself with the beer scene locally. Dave is still watching, and we love some Dave Warwick here on the I Love CVille show. How about the beer scene? Your thoughts on the beer scene and how it's contributed to Charlottesville and, almost 3 decades of you living here?
So I am unfortunately gluten-free, so not a great one to ask about the beer itself. Definitely know about the beer scene and how much it's grown. And really helping to make Charlottesville even more of a tourist destination. having all those craft breweries around has really brought a ton of people into us.
Do you think this came up on the show when we had Adam Healy, who was the interim director of the Charlottesville, Albemarle Convention and Visitors Bureau, and he is working with the CACVB, which is now an aggregation of elected officials and tourism experts, and they're arguing over this. Should the Albemarle name be included in the regional and national brand that represents Charlottesville? Adam says, no way, Jose, because, and I might be paraphrasing, and he says, no way, Jose, because when someone comes to the area, they don't understand whether or not they're on the other side of this imaginary line.
Yeah.
They just see it as Charlottesville. But Ann Malik, Board of Supervisors, she says, hell's to the no. I need Albemarle County into the moniker because I'm an Albemarle County Board of Supervisors and some of the money is coming from the county. I'm curious of your thoughts because you're very intelligent. You love Charlottesville. You've been here almost 3 decades. Should the Albemarle brand be in the regional and national moniker? Yes or no, and why?
That's a tough one because I remember growing up, I found out all of Albemarle County, their mailing addresses say Charlottesville.
Right.
And I was mad about that.
Right.
I was like, you don't live in Charlottesville. But I totally understand Albemarle County wanting to have a piece of that brand because it is so well known. Even more well known, unfortunately, after August 12th.
Right.
But, I can understand them wanting a piece of that, but I also can see Charlottesville wanting to keep it simple, so to speak.
Antoine Brinson, thank you for watching the program. We appreciate that, guys. If you can like and share the show, that would mean the world to us. What do you do, Clay Eure, and you've filled 50 minutes of the program. You're killing it. You're getting a lot of props. What do you do to improve? Oh, Dave Warwick says, we love you too, Jerry. I love you too. Dave Warwick's first crush was Cricket from Young and the Restless. Dave, that's for you, baby. Cricket from Young and the Restless, Dave Warwick's first crush. I love you, homie. What would you do to improve the regional and national brand that is Charlottesville? And the reason I asked that is you've already touched on it with A12. Dude, if we still do a Google image search of Charlottesville, some crappy stuff shows up, some nasty images from A12. You're in the consulting business. This very much fit. And in fact, City of Charlottesville and Albemarle County and CACVB, pick up the phone and call Clay Eure and get Eure Consulting in to help improve the Charlottesville brand. What do you do to improve the regional and national brand and conversation for this area?
Yeah, that's a tough one because the news cycle these days is focused on things that go wrong for the most part. And so how do you get back into the news cycle for something that's going right? And that's really the big issue. The issue with the coverage that we got on August 12th was that no one understood that wasn't Charlottesvillians doing that.
Right.
And that's the issue with the branding. And so how do we show what Charlottesville really is like with the I Heart CVille brand, with just letting people know that Charlottesville is a welcoming community. We love visitors. We love new people moving to the community. And how to show that, I'm not sure. But we need to show the true Charlottesville.
I agree, man. And that's what we're trying to do with the show is like spotlight positivity and spotlight like people like Clay, like Antoine Brinson yesterday, like the good of the area. Yeah. Joyce, Jerry, Hutchinson, thank you for tuning in and watching the program. If you guys can like and share the show, that would mean a lot to us. I just think it needs to get back to, I'm going to ask you some tough questions.
All right.
I think it needs to get back to celebrating entrepreneurs and celebrating nonprofits like the Paramount Theater and spotlighting the Paramount Theater and celebrating the Downtown Mall, which is the crown jewel of Charlottesville, and just like positive. And like a lot of times, and this is the tough part for you here, a lot of times I feel like, our leaders are focused on like, perhaps more so on social justice than driving the next level of economic growth to our community. And what I can promise you is if you think times are tough now, from a social justice standpoint, imagine how hard the times will be when the economy is not doing well. Because we are so very blessed in Charlottesville to have an economy that in some ways, in a lot of ways, is insulated from regional and national trends. And I think we both know that's because of like the University of Virginia, State Farm has got its second largest office here, CFA, S&P, Martha Jeff. We have major freaking huge employers that have people steady jobs that are then then pumping that money into the community. I guess here's where I'm going with, and I'm going to throw you an open-ended question. From my perspective as an entrepreneur and business owner who believes in strategic growth and believes in driving the economy every single day, I say that like that in a lot of ways should be the primary focus. And where we'll really get into trouble is if we see the economy, GDP, local level start to slip. What are your thoughts on everything that you're seeing? Because you got your finger on the news cycle. What are you seeing from the leaders in the community here?
Well, I think it has to be a balance, right? So we're not going to attract new members to our community if we are not a just and fair society.
Okay.
So
like that.
I do think there is a balance there. I am a business person first and foremost, and an entrepreneur. And so I do love to see entrepreneurial growth, bringing new businesses in. Like you said, having those steady jobs for our economy, propping up the many business or many local restaurants that we have, the breweries. They all need people with a steady income in order to come and enjoy them. And so I do agree that there needs to be a little more focus on that right now. And we are lucky, like you said, insulated. I think the wedding industry also helps us stay insulated with all of the wineries serving as wedding venues as well. I think we've become the second most popular wedding destination after Charleston.
That's right. That's 100% right.
And so that's a huge industry that we need to make sure that we're taking care of as well. And yeah, I agree that the city council right now, I would say the meetings, I haven't been to any lately, but they've become a little bit of a circus sometimes.
That's fair.
And so if we could get back to actually getting things done, that would help.
I think that's a sizzle reel, man. That was so good. That had offered a lot of depth and intellect. Very robust intellect right there, Harris. Sarah Turner Holdcroft. Sarah Turner Holdcroft.
Hey, Sarah.
Giving you some big time props right now on that answer. Thank you, Sarah, for liking and sharing the show. I thought
she's tuning in from England.
Is she? Tuning in from England. Clay Eure's got so much influence. She's got people across the pond watching the show right now. What is the time difference in England? That shows you. I've taken one vacation in 11 years since I've started this business. Do you know the time difference with England? You're smarter than I am, Clay.
I think it's 5 hours.
Ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it dumb that I had to ask that?
No.
Okay, so it's like it's 6:30 over there. Sarah Turner Holcroft, we love you. You might be our first English watcher person from United Kingdom watching the show. Let me throw this to you. Just the community at large. Mm-hmm. You, I think, can offer a lot of perspective as someone who grew up in the area, almost 3 decades in the area. Your parents are actively involved with key positions in the area. You grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I feel like you know the old guard, old school Charlottesville, and you were also a popular person, hangs out with a lot of people. You know the new guard of CVille, younger, the millennial demographic, which we're a part of here. What are you seeing, the millennials and the old guard, the comparisons and the contrasts of how they're going about like a life in CVille, how they're going about approaching CVille, embracing CVille, their perspective of CVille? Your thoughts on that one?
So you're right. Growing up, I was very good at hanging around my parents' parties. Mm-hmm. I was notorious for just staying quiet in the corner and them not noticing me, and it was well past my bedtime, and I'd been there listening to everything everyone was saying. I think the biggest difference I've noticed is that people in that old guard, my parents and their friends would gather at their homes, mm-hmm. and people in our generation are more and more meeting out somewhere. One, I think because we don't necessarily have the homes to host in. We have smaller apartments that aren't, conducive to large gatherings. And two, because we enjoy the great food that's here, trying new cocktails, just enjoying the offerings that Charlottesville has to offer.
I like that. That's a sizzle reel. Man, Harris is all over it. Harris knew that was a sizzle reel before you were over. That was on point. I'm noticing one commonality is millennials and empty nesters all wanting to live close to the heart of the city to enjoy the amenities that, say, downtown and West Main have to offer. That is a commonality there. Definitely. What are you seeing? And we have, Ray Cadell says, I've had the opportunity to work for both Clay's parents, first-class family. Thank you for leaving that comment, Ray. What are you seeing as far as like the need to move closer to the city, the commonalities of people wanting to get closer to the heart to enjoy what the city has to offer?
So I've definitely noticed those who are young married couples, no children, want to stay in the city. Right. And I've been seeing a lot of those with children being okay with moving out because they don't necessarily need to be going out as often as those who don't have children. That's the biggest thing that I'm seeing. I definitely think, I know it's my mom's dream to have a condo on the downtown mall, to be able to retire there and be right in the thick of things. My dad would hate that because he doesn't like, apartment living in general is not his thing.
He wants a little more space.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can definitely see why people would wanting to be in the city limits where, like you said, you can get anywhere in 5 minutes. That's my favorite thing about Charlottesville. I can get to Barracks Road in 5 minutes. I can get downtown in 7 minutes. All of the amenities, like you said, are right there, making it an easy lifestyle.
My wife is watching right now. She's a superhero. I love her to death. I would live closer to the city of Charlottesville. I would live in these third-floor penthouses in the Macklin building in a heartbeat. The tough part about that is now we have a little boy and our son, and needing a yard and a neighborhood and all that. I totally get it. Curtis Shaver, welcome to the program, a friend of ours, executive chef at Hamilton's and Peloton Station. The show is broadcast not only on my page, Jerry Miller Now, but also on CVille Food, I Love CVille, Scoutology CVille, and 7 channels in totality across the I Love CVille network. I think this has been an easy interview. We've already filled an hour. So one of the things I really give you props for is you're able to take an open-ended question and give an answer and make it your own, which is not an easy thing to do because I do this every day with guests. You do a really, really good job with that. Let me throw a couple things to close down here. What have you seen from your almost 30 years in Charlottesville? How have you seen UVA and students on grounds perhaps assimilate a little bit more with Charlottesville and civilians and townies? When I was here, when I started in 2000, there was not much assimilation. In fact, students almost had fear to leave the UVA bubble because of the unknown. That was obviously before smartphones and much easier and ubiquitous transportation like Uber and Lyft. So that kind of made us more confined to the bubble than we perhaps are today. Your thoughts on that topic?
Well, I think it's easy to stay in that bubble when you have so many good restaurants and bars right there at the corner. But I've definitely seen UVA grow immensely. Just their footprint in general, they've really taken over a lot of the space in town. And so, you see those blue signs that, that's a UVA building now. And so that's one thing that I've seen is the growth there. And as for students, I don't interact with students all that often. My sister is a grad student, so I've met her and some of her friends. But they all live generally near campus in the Oxford Hills apartments, Rugby McIntyre apartments, still right close to campus.
Totally.
And I haven't even met many professors either.
Do you think it's bad that UVA has taken so much of Charlottesville over? I mean, the UVA machine is like swallowing so much of CVille. And like, I see both sides, Clay, because like UVA, as it continues to grow and employ more people, and let's hope they offer it at a living wage standpoint, which is certainly something in the news today. But as it continues to grow, it's going to continue to inject more money and disposable income and jobs into the economy. That's the positive. The con is eventually I'm concerned about that a city so small in its footprint in Charlottesville, which I think it's like 10 some square miles, whatever it may be, is going to be like
half
UVA. Right. I mean, you think about that at all?
I have thought about it. And I just like you, I see both sides of it. So yes, they are providing jobs. Maybe not living wage, like you said, is in the news right now as a discussion. But I'm kind of torn on it because you're right, Charlottesville itself is small, but it's also, if people don't know the name Charlottesville, I say UVA, they know that. So it is who we are as well.
I agree. That was good. End to the show. One question that I'm going to throw to you, and I'm going to cut this into a sizzle reel. I want to do like a snapshot on Eure Consulting that you guys can use, however you want. I'll give you an opportunity to put the answer in perspective. The question's going to be, tell us about Eure Consulting and what the business is about. I'll thank the sponsors as you compose your answer. Not that you need time because you've got this inside and out. Harris Tolber, our director, thank you for joining us. Judah Wickhauer and Laura Linsky, producers of this program. I Love CVille Show, thanks to Greenberry's Coffee, Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, Roy Wheeler Realty Company, Caring for Creatures, Animal Connection, Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. If you guys like to get involved in the show, we're happy to feature you. Clay Eure has crushed it. She did 63 minutes in what has felt like 6.5 minutes. Very pleasant conversationalist. Throw into the ecosystem what Eure Consulting is about, how we can find you, and why we should form a strategic partnership and work alongside your team.
Great. So Eure Consulting exists to help small businesses in the area be successful and help their owners enjoy a good quality of life. We want to help teach you how to run your company better, help you develop your next level of managers, and help you make sure you have the right people in the right seats on the bus. You can find us at www.eureconsulting.com or email me at clay@eureconsulting.com, EURE. And we'd love to work with you, love to partner with you on helping you enjoy your life more.
Nice. Props. Oh, solid. What did you think?
That was great, yeah.
Yeah?
You're right, it went by a lot faster than I expected it to.
I thought you were really good. Did you, I always ask this question to everybody. What were your thoughts coming into the show? Were you like, how the hell are we going to fill an hour? Is that what you were thinking?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not sure I have an hour of stuff to talk about, but you totally do.
Yeah.
I think we'll close on this note. I think I enjoy your company. I think Charlottesville's lucky to have you and your family in the mix.
Thank you.
Your mom doing awesome stuff with the Paramount. You said in her first year got the nonprofit into the black.
Yep.
I think the Paramount guys is one of the absolute crown jewels of the crown jewel that is the downtown mall. So it's like the canary diamond on top of the crown, which is the Paramount. If you get is that an analogy?
Yeah.
That's an analogy.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a metaphor?
It's a simile.
It's a
you use
simile, like or as
yeah.
or similes.
Yeah.
Like or as or similes. It takes a Vanderbilt, not a UVA education to figure that out. Like or as is
Good
a
words.
simile. Yeah. Go. What is it? Commodores?
Commodores.
Commodores. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Clay Eure, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. We will be back tomorrow. Is Wednesday. So Wednesday we have Alex from Roy Wheeler Realty Company. And on Thursday, Melissa Close-Hart, who we both know,
Yep.
the executive chef at Junction Restaurant. Friday, Michael Buchensky of First Heritage Mortgage is going to join us to talk about CVille Gives, a fantastic nonprofit in the area that is really galvanizing entrepreneurs under one mission. And the mission changes from time to time, and it's basically a way to give back to Charlottesville while also networking with other entrepreneurs in the market. A lot of millennials, a lot of folks our age, and like Clay and I involved in this organization. We'll also talk about what Michael Buchensky's life is as a mortgage broker and how he's come to market, essentially launching a business as an entrepreneur himself. Dave Norris, former Mayor Dave Norris, is playing for the show. Jen Ferriello, Ray Cadell, and Al Schornberg from Keswick Vineyards, photographer, musician, entrepreneur, and owner of Keswick Vineyards, later this month to talk about the wedding industry. Clay Eure said this so well. Charlottesville, Virginia is an epicenter for weddings, second to Charleston on the East Coast. And interestingly, our politicians in Albemarle County are trying to limit the potential of the wedding industry by capping their ability to have events, the amount of people that are at the events, and the frequency of the events at private properties. And I'm like, Jesus, what in the hell is that? That makes no sense to me. Why would you cap the wedding industry when it's the people that are coming to Charlottesville that have disposable income, that have a mindset, I'm going to rage in this town and spend a ton of money at restaurants and bars and farmers markets and shops, and then I'm going to leave Central Virginia, and I'm not going to tax Charlottesville and Central Virginia's resources, specifically the roads, the school systems, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Ann Malik and Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, please get with it, because that makes no sense to the entrepreneur that is Jerry Miller. We need to celebrate our business owners, our small business owners like Al Schorberg and Ray Cadell and Jen Ferriello, as opposed to limit their potential. That is going to be coming up on the I Love CVille Show. We close the same way. We thank Harris Tolber. We thank Judah Wickower and Lauren Linsky. My name is Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show. Two things. Please be good to each other, and please embody the golden rule. Two very easy things to do that will make Charlottesville a better place. We will see you in... Gosh, I have to do some quick math here. 22 hours and 53 minutes on the I Love CVille Show. Thank you guys for joining us.
Awesome.
Yeah, did you have fun?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. So this is what you can expect from us. We'll load the video over 30 days. We'll syndicate the sizzle reels. We'll do a package here, so we still got to get your photo.
Okay.
And then I'll send you the link to everything. That way you can do whatever you want with